The Harbinger Fleet. Earth in the year 2287 was not the industrial powerhouse it had once been. After the climate wars of the previous century, humanity had rebuilt with a focus on sustainability and balance. The sprawling megacities of old had been replaced with efficient arcologies and rewilded landscapes. From orbit, the planet appeared more green and blue than it had in centuries. The population had stabilized at 4 billion, with most humans content to live in harmony with the recovering ecosystems. Some ventured to the modest colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter, but the majority of humanity remained on their ancestral home, having learned hard lessons about growth at any cost. What outsiders couldn't see was that Earth had not abandoned technology. It had refined it. Fusion energy powered everything. Quantum computing networks managed global resources with unprecedented efficiency. And in the shadows, military technology had evolved in ways that weren't immediately visible from space. Admiral Kitha of the Arcturan Empire knew none of this as her fleet of 500 warships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. The Arcturans were expansion-minded, having conquered 12 systems in the past 30 years. Their strategy was always the same: overwhelm with superior numbers, establish dominance quickly, and exploit planetary resources while subjugating or removing the native populations. Earth had been marked as a Class II acquisition target, a developed world with moderate defenses that would require a show of force, but not a protracted campaign. The intelligence briefing had noted the planet's unusual biodiversity and water reserves, making it particularly valuable. Scans confirm minimal orbital defenses, reported Kitha's second-in-command, Commander Vex. They have some primitive stations and a small lunar outpost, but nothing that could challenge our fleet. Admiral Kitha nodded approvingly. Deploy as planned. I want control of their orbital infrastructure within 3 hours. Begin the atmospheric entry sequence for ground forces. The Arcturan fleet spread out in a classic envelopment formation, their sleek warships gleaming like predatory fish in the sunlight. On the bridge of her flagship, the inevitable Conquest, Kitha allowed herself a small smile. This would be an easy victory to add to her already impressive record. On Earth, the response was immediate, but not what the Arcturans expected. Inside the rebuilt United Nations complex in Geneva, the Emergency Planetary Defense Council convened within minutes of the alien fleet's arrival. Unlike in old science fiction stories, there was no panic, no desperate scrambling for a plan. Earth had been preparing for this possibility for decades. The Sentinel network confirms 512 vessels of unknown configuration, reported General Elena Winters, Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces. They're deploying in standard conquest formation, consistent with what we've observed from other expansionist species through our deep space monitoring. UN Secretary General Aiden Okafor nodded grimly. Initiate Protocol Thermopylae. Around the world, hidden facilities hummed to life. In orbit, seemingly ordinary communications satellites subtly altered their positions. On the Moon, sections of the lunar surface began to shift, revealing concealed launch bays. Meanwhile, a single transmission was broadcast toward the approaching fleet, encoded in the mathematical language that had become the standard for first contact attempts across known space. The message was simple: we welcome peaceful contact. Aggressive action will be met with appropriate response. Admiral Kitha dismissed the message as the expected plea from a frightened civilization. She ordered the vanguard of her fleet to neutralize Earth's communications network as the first step in their conquest. 20 ships broke formation, accelerating toward Earth's orbit, where the most critical satellites were clustered. Their weapon systems powered up, targeting lasers painting the primitive human technology. The first volley from the Arcturan ships struck. Nothing. The beams passed through what turned out to be holographic projections. The real satellites had already moved to safe positions, using stealth technology that rendered them nearly invisible to standard scans. Target reacquisition failed, reported an Arcturan weapons officer, confusion evident in their voice. We're detecting unusual energy signatures throughout the orbital plane. Before Admiral Kitha could respond, Earth's actual defense grid revealed itself. Hundreds of small, agile drones emerged from hidden positions, swarming the Arcturan vanguard ships with precision attacks. They weren't trying to destroy the alien vessels, merely disabling weapon systems and engines with surgical strikes. "What is this?" Kitha demanded as reports of disabled ships flooded in. Their technology level was supposed to be centuries behind ours. Commander Vex studied the incoming data with growing concern. "It appears our intelligence was incomplete. These aren't the actions of a species encountering advanced technology for the first time. They were prepared for us." From the lunar surface, larger vessels now launched, Earth's actual defensive fleet. They weren't numerous, perhaps 50 ships in total, but they moved with precision and coordination that suggested advanced AI tactical systems. In Geneva, General Winters watched the holographic display with grim satisfaction. Phase 1 complete. The enemy's vanguard is neutralized without casualties on either side. Moving to Phase 2. Remember, Secretary General Okafor cautioned, our goal is deterrence, not destruction. We want them to retreat, not fight to the death. The Earth fleet took position in a defensive sphere around the planet, their hulls gleaming with an unusual iridescent material that seemed to absorb and redirect scanner beams. From the flagship Gaia's shield, Admiral Sanjay Mehta opened a direct channel to the Arcturan fleet. "This is Admiral Mehta of the Earth Defense Force. Your vanguard has been disabled without casualties to demonstrate our capabilities. We have no interest in conflict, but we will protect our world. You have 1 hour to collect your disabled vessels and withdraw from our system." Aboard the inevitable Conquest, Admiral Kitha seethed with rage and embarrassment. Never in her distinguished career had she faced such a situation. She had 2 options: withdraw and face disgrace, or commit her main fleet and crush these upstarts who dared to challenge the Arcturan Empire. "Prepare the main battle group," she ordered. "Target their defense fleet first, then their ground installations. I want overwhelming force." As the bulk of the Arcturan Armada moved into attack formation, Earth's defense systems shifted to their next phase. From concealed positions throughout the asteroid belt, electromagnetic pulse generators activated, creating a web of disruption fields that would weaken the Arcturan's ship systems without destroying them. The battle was joined as the Arcturan main fleet engaged Earth's defenders. The humans fought with unexpected effectiveness, their smaller fleet using the electromagnetic disruption to their advantage. Ships danced through space in a deadly ballet, energy weapons flashing between them. What the Arcturans couldn't understand was why the humans weren't pressing their advantage. Their tactics seemed focused on neutralizing rather than destroying enemy vessels. It made no strategic sense to an empire built on total conquest. 3 hours into the battle, with both sides taking losses, but the Arcturans still holding numerical superiority, Admiral Kitha received a message that would change everything. "Admiral," reported her intelligence officer, "we've intercepted and decoded their communications. They'd been referring to themselves as humanity." A chill ran down Kitha's spine. "Humanity? You're certain?" "Yes, Admiral. Their homeworld is called Earth, and they self-identify as humans." The color drained from Kitha's face. Every spacefaring species in the galaxy knew the stories. Most dismissed them as myths or exaggerations. Tales of a species that had developed in isolation, that had nearly destroyed itself multiple times, but always emerged stronger. A species that, when finally encountered by galactic civilization, had displayed such tenacity and unpredictable innovation that they were best left alone. There was even a saying among Arcturan military academies, "May you never have to face the wrath of Earth's children." Kitha had always considered it propaganda, a cautionary tale to encourage thoroughness in conquest planning. But now, facing the unexpected resistance and clever tactics of these defenders, she was no longer certain. "Verify their claim," she ordered urgently. Deep scans were conducted, focusing on the third planet from the Sun. The results confirmed her worst fears. the atmospheric composition, the biological signatures, the evolutionary patterns. This was indeed the legendary Earth, home of humanity. As this realization dawned on the Arcturan Command, Earth's defenders launched their next phase. From the lunar surface, a series of massive electromagnetic accelerators fired, launching thousands of small metallic objects toward the Arcturan fleet. Not weapons in the traditional sense. These were clouds of specialized nanomaterials designed to adhere to ship hulls and interfere with critical systems. As the clouds enveloped Arcturan vessels, ships began to lose propulsion, weapons went offline, and communications became unreliable. The carefully coordinated Arcturan battle groups fragmented into isolated units, unable to maintain formation or respond to commands. Admiral Kitha watched in horror as her mighty fleet was reduced to drifting, defenseless vessels. The humans had developed weapons that targeted technology itself, rendering the Arcturans' superior numbers meaningless. "Full retreat," she ordered, her voice hollow with the knowledge that her career was over. "All functional ships, cover the withdrawal of disabled vessels. We are leaving this system immediately." As the Arcturans struggled to regroup, humanity's true strength became clear. It wasn't their weapons or their tactics, impressive as those were. It was their restraint. They could have destroyed the invading fleet, but instead chose to demonstrate their power without unnecessary bloodshed. As the first day of the battle came to an end, the Arcturan fleet was in disarray, with more than half their ships disabled or retreating. But Admiral Kitha knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would not accept defeat, and already she was formulating a new strategy, one that would require the full might of the Arcturan military. What she didn't know was that Earth had barely revealed its true defensive capabilities. The next phase would show why humanity had earned its fearsome reputation among the stars. The moon of broken ships. Night fell across Earth as the remaining Arcturan vessels retreated to a position beyond the moon's orbit. In homes and shelters around the world, humans watched news broadcasts with a mixture of relief and apprehension. The initial attack had been repelled, but everyone understood this was merely a prelude. In the ruins of the Arcturan vanguard, Admiral Kitha gathered her remaining commanders for an emergency council. The holographic projections of her officers flickered with interference, a lingering effect of Earth's electromagnetic weapons. "The Empire will not accept defeat," Kitha stated firmly, masking her own doubts. "We have underestimated these humans, but we still hold numerical advantage. Our reinforcement fleet is only 3 days away. Once they arrive, we will have over 1,000 warships at our disposal." Commander Vex spoke up, his expression grim. "Admiral, with respect, I believe we should reconsider this campaign entirely. The records about humanity may not be exaggerations after all." Kitha's eyes narrowed. "Elaborate." "Our archaeological division has studied ruins of civilizations that encountered humans centuries ago. The patterns are consistent. Species that attempted to subjugate Earth never returned to their homeworlds. Some of our most ancient texts speak of the world that creates graveyards in the void. I believe they were referring to Earth." An uncomfortable silence fell over the command council. Finally, Kitha spoke. "Superstition has no place in military strategy. We will regroup, await reinforcements, and launch a decisive attack that will overwhelm even these unexpected defenses." What Kitha couldn't know was that Earth had already anticipated this exact response. In the Emergency Planetary Defense Council chamber, human leaders were reviewing their next steps. "The Arcturans are calling for reinforcements," reported General Winters, studying the intercepted communications. "We have approximately 72 hours before they receive significant backup." Secretary General Okafor turned to a figure who had remained silent until now. Dr. Amara Chen, Director of the Quantum Defense Initiative. "Doctor, it seems we'll need to deploy the Orpheus system after all." Dr. Chen nodded solemnly. "It's ready, though I had hoped we wouldn't need it. Once activated, there's no going back. Every spacefaring civilization will know what we're capable of." "Better they know and stay away than continue to test us," Okafor replied. Proceed with deployment. Throughout Earth's solar system, carefully concealed installations began to activate. In the asteroid belt, on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and in Earth orbit, quantum entanglement devices synchronized to create a defensive network unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Meanwhile, Admiral Meta's fleet began to gather the disabled Arcturan ships. Rather than destroying them, Earth forces were collecting them in a high orbit around the moon. "What are they doing?" asked an Arcturan tactical officer, monitoring the human activities from a safe distance. "Why gather our damaged vessels?" Admiral Kitha had no answer. In all her years of conquest, she had never encountered a species that passed up the opportunity to destroy enemy hardware. It made no tactical sense, unless the humans had some use for the ships that she couldn't fathom. As Earth prepared its final defensive measures, diplomatic channels remained open. Every 6 hours, a simple message was broadcast to the Arcturan fleet. "We seek peace, not war. Depart our system, and there will be no further conflict." Each time, Kitha ignored the offer. Her pride and duty to the Empire would not allow retreat, especially now that she had committed to awaiting reinforcements. What she didn't realize was that the repeated messages were not just diplomatic overtures. They were warnings. On the third day, long-range sensors detected the hyperspace signature of the approaching Arcturan reinforcement fleet. Almost 900 additional warships, including 3 planetary siege vessels. The Empire was committing significant resources to ensure Earth's submission. In Geneva, Secretary General Okafor gave the final authorization. Activate the Orpheus system. Throughout the solar system, the quantum entanglement network came fully online. To an outside observer, nothing visibly changed. But at the subatomic level, reality itself was being subtly reshaped around Earth's sphere of influence. As the reinforcement fleet emerged from hyperspace, joining with Admiral Kitha's remaining forces, they formed an armada of over 1,200 vessels, the largest single military force the Arcturan Empire had ever deployed against a single world. All ships, battle formations, ordered Kitha, a renewed confidence in her voice. "We will commence the attack in 3 waves. Planetary siege vessels will target their major defense installations once our main fleet engages their orbital defenses." The massive Arcturan armada began its advance toward Earth, weapons systems powering up, shields at maximum. This time, there would be no mercy shown to the defiant humans. But as the fleet crossed the threshold of the moon's orbit, something inexplicable happened. Ship after ship suddenly lost power, not from any visible attack, but as if the laws of physics themselves had changed. Energy weapons failed to charge. Propulsion systems sputtered and died. Communications arrays went silent. In desperation, Kitha ordered her flagship to retreat beyond the moon's orbit, only to discover that their systems functioned normally once they crossed back over that invisible boundary. It was as if Earth had created a zone where Arcturan technology simply could not function. "What is happening?" she demanded of her science officer. "Explain this immediately." The science officer's hands trembled as they worked their console. "It appears to be. It's impossible, but they seem to have created a field that selectively disrupts the quantum states our technology relies upon. Our ships can enter the field, but nothing except the most basic mechanical systems will function within it." On Earth, Dr. Chen monitored the Orpheus system's performance. Selective quantum disruption field is stable and functioning as designed. The field is calibrated specifically to the Arcturan energy signatures we sampled during the first engagement. The implications were staggering. Humanity had developed the ability to essentially rewrite the rules of physics within a defined space, creating a bubble around Earth where they decided what technology would and wouldn't work. Admiral Kitha watched in horror as her mighty fleet drifted helplessly toward Earth, caught in the planet's gravitational pull with no working engines to escape it. Ships collided with one another, creating a gradually expanding field of debris orbiting between Earth and its moon. "Send the distress call," she ordered, her voice hollow with defeat. "All Imperial forces are to avoid the Sol system. Classify it as a Class 5 hazard zone." But even their long-range communications were affected by the humans' technology. No warning would reach the Empire, only silence. From Earth's surface, the spectacle was visible to the naked eye. Thousands of Arcturan ships, gleaming in the sunlight as they slowly formed a new ring around the moon. A graveyard of broken vessels that would serve as a monument and a warning. In the following weeks, Earth forces methodically approached each drifting Arcturan ship. They rescued survivors, treating them with unexpected dignity and medical care. The Arcturan wounded were housed in comfortable quarantine facilities, where many had their first direct interaction with humans. Admiral Kitha herself was brought before the Planetary Defense Council, not as a prisoner but as a diplomatic representative. She stood tall despite her defeat, determined to maintain the honor of the Empire. Secretary General Okafor addressed her directly. "Admiral, we have no interest in conflict with your people. Your personnel will be returned to you along with sufficient ships to carry them home. The rest will remain here as a reminder." "A reminder of what?" Kitha asked stiffly. "That Earth is not to be trifled with," General Winters stated, "but also that we value life, even the lives of those who come to conquer us. Your people will return with tales not just of our strength, but of our mercy. Both are equally important for others who understand." Dr. Chen then explained something that chilled Kitha to her core. "The Orpheus system can be recalibrated for any technology signature we can sample. Today it was calibrated for Arcturan ships. Tomorrow it could be adjusted for any other aggressive species." The message was clear. Humanity now possessed a defensive capability that rendered conventional invasion impossible. Earth had made itself untouchable without firing a single truly destructive shot. 3 months later, a small fleet of repaired Arcturan vessels departed the Sol system carrying the survivors of the failed invasion. As they activated their hyperspace drives, the ship's occupants took one last look at the Earth-Moon system. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. A gleaming ring of broken ships encircling the moon, catching the sunlight like a new celestial feature. In the centuries to come, it would be visible from light years away with even modest telescopes, a warning and a monument that would become known throughout the galaxy as the Celestial Graveyard. Word spread quickly through galactic civilization. The myths about humanity had been confirmed and even enhanced. They were not just tenacious and innovative, they were also unpredictable in their mercy. Most dangerous of all, they had developed technology that seemed to transcend the understood laws of physics itself. In the aftermath, Earth did not expand outward or seek revenge. Instead, humanity focused on establishing clear boundaries and diplomatic relations. They sent representatives to the major galactic powers, offering trade and cultural exchange, while making it unambiguously clear that aggression would be met with the same response the Arcturans had experienced. The Arcturan Empire, for its part, underwent a significant cultural shift. The failed Earth campaign led to soul-searching about their expansionist policies. Within a decade, they had transformed from conquerors to traders, finding that peaceful exchange brought more prosperity than conquest ever had. As for the moon's new ring, Earth could have cleared it away, but chose not to. It remained as a glittering reminder that sometimes the most profound victories come not from destruction, but from restraint. In time, the Celestial Graveyard became a pilgrimage site for species throughout the galaxy. Some came to witness humanity's power, others to contemplate the folly of unprovoked aggression. Artists captured its beauty in works that spread across thousands of worlds. Philosophers debated its meaning for centuries. And at the center of it all was Earth, a small blue planet that had transformed a would-be tragedy into a monument that would shape galactic civilization for millennia to come. In diplomatic halls throughout the galaxy, a new saying emerged: "May your first contact be with anyone but humans, unless you come in peace." For Admiral Kitha, returned to her homeworld, and stripped of rank, the memory of Earth never faded. In her final years, she became an unexpected advocate for peaceful exploration, often ending her public addresses with a simple warning that spread throughout galactic civilization: Before you invade a world, make very sure you know its name. And if that name is Earth, turn your ships around and go home.